What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what time it is. This is your weekly AI tech news where we're going to be talking about the latest, the greatest, the craziest of everything that's been happening in the tech industry this week regarding AI, drama with different tech billionaires, different salaries, things happening with robotics, and much, much more. So just give a high level overview, some of the things we're going to be talking about. We got to be talking about the T app, some news that's going on with the T app. If y'all don't know about the T, you about to get the T today. So we're going to be talking about the T app, a data breach that just happened with that platform. We're also going to be talking about salaries up to $300 million in the tech industry. Techies getting paid more than NFL, NBA athletes. We're going to be talking about OpenAI having to pay $30 billion a year, a big bill that's going to be coming out of their pocket. We're going to be covering a lot of crazy things. Update with ChatGPT 5 that's about to come out. Updates with SpaceX collaborating with T-Mobile and other phone providers. It's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on, y'all. That being said, I want to go ahead and introduce my co-host, the guest co-host that we have today, y'all. We have Arthur Bernier here, Big Papa Code, the founder of It's Deeper Than Code podcast, really amazing podcasting platform that's been killing it. He is an instructor. He's literally an AI instructor. He teaches with cloud computing and a variety of other specialties in the tech and AI space. He is a big dog, a very humble big dog in the industry. Somebody who I'm a huge fan of, and that I've had the honor of being able to collaborate with on a few different things. So he's not as beautiful as Ash, unfortunately. Nevertheless, a brilliant mind nonetheless. Brilliant mind nonetheless. So Arthur, thank you so much for being here, man. For everybody that's joining in, let us know as always. If you're new here, let us know what you do in the tech industry, what you want to do in the tech industry, and or if you plan on starting some type of business or being some big name tech investor, let us know in the chat who you are and what it is you're going to be doing. That being said, y'all also make sure y'all give a warm welcome to the guest that we have today, Arthur. So again, Arthur, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out of your early afternoon, your early Saturday afternoon, your day off to be here with us. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem. It's actually late over here. I'm in Bahrain, and it's like,
oh yeah.
You know,
Hey y'all, look, so both of us are out of the country, but we're each of us are on opposite sides of the world. So y'all know I'm in boring Cartagena, Colombia, and he's in. You said it's Bahrain.
Bahrain, yep.
You know what's hilarious when I hear that? Somebody let me know in the chat if y'all know this reference. Bahrain.
Oh man, you know what? Now I'm not gonna be able to unhear that. Now that you said that.
I don't know why I didn't click before, but when you said it this time, all I thought was that Bahrain.
Oh man.
All right, y'all. Look, so we got some dope people in the comments. We got a solutions architect in the comments, cybersecurity specialist intern leaning into Linux systems admin. That is fire, fire, fire. Hey, y'all, keep it coming, keep it coming. That being said, also let us know the craziest tech news you've heard about this week. Maybe you might surprise us with something that we don't have on the list, and it might be something we'll end up talking about. Make sure you put it in the chat so we can have it covered. We got some amazing other updates for y'all. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the news for today. So the first piece of tech news that we have got to cover, is Meta has a mind-reading wristband that's turning people into a little bit of a Jedi. So Meta has a new wristband that captures neuromuscular signals before they even result in movement. So it predicts you're about to do something before you even do something. It can feel your muscles flexing and tensing up. Now, this will allow users to control digital devices with just a thought. It represents a foundational shift in how we interact with machines, blurring the lines between physical and mental interfaces. Unlike AR, VR headsets, this tech is subtle, portable, and ambient, potentially replacing the need for screens altogether. If scaled, it could redefine accessibility, gaming, productivity, tools, and even how we communicate. So essentially, this is tech. It's wearable devices, wearable technology. We've talked about this before. We talked about this before on our platform, where essentially it allows you to control the technology in your home. Because as we know, all technology is becoming interconnected. So you'll be able to control, your TV, if you have a computer, you'll be able to control your phone, your car, all different type of technology without even doing anything, literally by just thinking about it. Because oftentimes when we think about something, many times even like the minimal part of our muscles react, or they might tense up or just move in a certain way, twitch a certain way. And so this tech will literally be able to essentially operate as if you have a thought and then something happens. And so look, y'all, the talking point we got to talk about this. First and foremost, what do y'all think about this? Got to know from y'all in the chat. What do y'all think about this? And in reality, what are the threats? What I want to know from y'all, what are some of the threats that we see with technology like this? I have an idea, but I'm gonna pass it over to y'all, and also I'm gonna pass it over to my co-host today. So Arthur, first and foremost, what do you think about this, bro? What are the benefits of this? And also, do you see any potential risks or concerns involved with this type of technology?
Yeah, I mean, the risks are kind of like anecdotal because it really depends on how the technology works, right? Like how good is it at interpreting what we want versus what we what it thinks we want. Is there a one-to-one to that? Because obviously it's going to be bugs and stuff like that, and how dangerous are those bugs depending on like what you give it access to be able to control or not control, etc. So I'm really, really interested in that. But overall, I'm very, bullish on this type of technology. So I'm excited to see it. I'm definitely going to use it. I love all this stuff when it comes out. So I can't wait. I'm still thinking about putting one of those Neuralink chips in my head. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do it yet, but I mean, why not add about 30, 40 extra, IQ points or something like that. So I don't know.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So this is bad because we're much too similar. We're much too similar because I think Ash is a good medium because as much as she's a huge fan of all the tech, she also is much more cautious and weary. But both of us lean more on the side of like, yo, I want to try all of it.
Yeah, I want to try everything. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, here's the thing, right? Something could always go wrong. I could walk outside the house tomorrow and, a drone could fall out of the sky and hit me in the head, and that could be it. I don't know what's going to happen at any moment, but I do know that, before I get a technology in my hand, it's been tested somewhat. So why don't I test it a little bit more and see like how things progress? And also, I haven't been involved in like software development lifecycle and all that stuff for a bunch of years. I'm less scared about stuff being, not working the way it is. And after you see, some satellites get launched into space, because I literally didn't believe we could get them launched. I was like, I don't know how these things are not going to fall out of the sky. And we was able to get them up there. So it's like, whatever, YOLO. Let's just see what happens. I mean, it's still floating around now. And, obviously we did a good job. So
what is it? It's something like several thousands of satellites orbiting our atmosphere, which is crazy. Like I think
especially in low Earth orbit.
You said especially who?
Especially in low Earth orbit, because there's low Earth orbit and then there's GEO, right? So like low Earth orbit, they have like a bunch of constellations and blah, blah, blah. A lot of small satellites, and then only have larger satellites like in GEO or whatever. So
yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. So look, I'm gonna be real. So as much as I'm a fan about this, I think this is incredible. There is a bit of a risk that I see involved. And I want to know, I'm gonna look at the chat in a second because y'all going in on the chat. Shouts out to the person.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yo, y'all are unhinged in these comments. Hey, everybody listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else, listen. Y'all have to join and tune into these in real time because these comments are hilarious. I'm gonna get to the comments in a second. Let me, as Dr. Umar says, we must stay focused. So
that's a random person to quote right now.
Oh, and by the way, y'all check out his podcast. It's Deeper Than Code. He actually had Dr. Umar was on his podcast as a guest. So y'all check out that episode. You know, it's Deeper Than Code podcast. Dr. Umar was on there dropping some good gems. So
the longest he ever went without talking about snow bunnies.
Wow,
that's the longest. That's 2 hours of just straight intellectual conversation with a real smart guy, and he still was funny. But I guarantee you can't find another 2 hours of Umar without that topic.
I believe it. I mean, that's a sign of a good interviewer, a good host. Instead of you jumping on the little, you know, the viral topics of trying to get him to talk about some racial stuff, you know, in that regards, you know, you were able to focus on some other intellectual conversation.
So he said he wanted to meet you, by the way.
You said what?
He said he wanted to meet you.
Yeah, I heard about that.
You know, we talked about you for 20 minutes straight on the podcast.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know, he loved Tech is the New Black. He was like, Tech is the New Black. Hold up. So he want to meet you, but that's another thing.
Hey, look, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So one risk that I see with this technology, as we all know, Meta / Facebook is the king of wanting your data. Like, they want your information. And mind you, all of these companies want our data, but it's like something different about Meta. I don't know what it is. It's something different about them that it just feels different. Let me know in the chat if y'all feel the same way. But the thing is, if Meta can know us on such a level where it can essentially know our every thought on such a detailed level that it could know our patterns. It could know that when you walk in your home, you prefer to turn music on instead of turn the TV on. Or it can know that even like when you drive your car, just all of these details based on such a small thing, such a detailed thing as just your muscle fibers twitching. It will know you on a level that is much, much more intimately than we even know ourselves, honestly, at that point. So, and again, it isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just at that point, the level in which we will be able to be manipulated. Because, I mean, let's be real. Why is social media so addictive? Why is social media so manipulated? Like, let's look at the different elections that happened, where social media controlled and swayed elections and people voting, and Zuckerberg came out and admitted that Facebook, Meta, manipulated us. He admitted that they took money from certain groups and organizations. You know, and again, y'all know I don't try to get too political here. I don't, you know, right, left, whatever. To me, it's all crazy. But that being said, he admitted that they did manipulate us via social media. Why did they have the power to manipulate us? It's because they know us so well. Now imagine they know us on a much more intimate level, not just our scrolling patterns, not just what we're searching up, but they know us on a level that they know essentially our every thought, even outside of being on social media. You wearing a band, that means they know like things about when you're sleeping, about when you're driving, about when you're working out. That the tech will be able to know everything about you and use that data to be able to control and manipulate even more. And I'm not saying that they would want to manipulate us towards our doom. Maybe they just want to manipulate us towards purchasing certain things. Either way, we are talking about giving them total manipulation power. And so this is the threat that I see. And again, I'm not saying that it's all doom and gloom, because I'm very interested. Y'all know I talk about this all the time. I'm interested in this technology. Nevertheless, just discussing some of the potential risks of what we might be seeing.
But here's the thing about that, because you're right in everything that you said, right? The problem is we are already plugged into the system and we're in it already. And that is commonplace. From the moment you logged onto the first social media app, or at least the millennial generation did, Well, me and you're the same age, so when we did, they've had access to all of our information. We gave them the information without knowing, because Facebook at the end of the day is as they like to say, an industry plant. All these original social media platforms like Friendster and MySpace or whatever were all very much like, righteous pirate type companies, etc. And why did they decide to buy out MySpace and bury it? Why did they decide to crush all these other companies? Because of their value system. But they knew that Facebook had the mindset of, how do we create the biggest, most profitable brand and know the most about the most people, right? So that's what they set out to do and accomplish, and they've already accomplished it. Yeah. So we already are living in that world. It's just like once we, accepted digital money, well before crypto. I'm talking about just like literally just digital money in general. We accepted the ability for us to give up part of our Fourth Amendment rights and stuff like that, so they can know whenever we want to purchase this, purchase that, because it's all has to be tracked and KYC, et cetera, tracked back to you. But when you trade in cash or you trade in barter, that's not possible, right? So that's already the table stakes we already live in. So we're already in that dystopian future that maybe who from 1820 would have been like, maybe you shouldn't do that. And it's already too late. We accepted the Federal Reserve. We accepted digital money. We accepted, social media, and that is the way. That's the way the world works. So no matter what we do, they know when you're going to turn your head, when you're going to close your eyes, when you're going to buy soap, and when you need toilet paper. They know all these things, and soon they'll know when your heart hurts a little bit too much, when your feet hurt, and all your medical information and things like that too. And there's potential positives to that world, but privacy is the thing that gets sacrificed, which we already decided to do that many, many years ago. Since, I don't want, like you said, you don't want to get political. I get political all the time, but I won't get political. It's your platform, so I ain't gonna do it.
Go ahead. I'm not gonna censor my co-host.
The Patriot Act and all that, or whatever. And it's not even just like in America. The European Union is, pretty wild on that too, and UK, pretty much all of them except for Australia, but they're not too far behind, from what I know. But I'd love somebody from Australia to mention how they feel about the way that their stuff is. But anyway, I went on a tangent. We must stay focused. So.
No. We must stay focused. No, it was a good tangent though. There's something that we say, like you mentioned earlier about how, basically, hey, we're already there essentially. There's something that Ash and I have talked about a few times in the last month about how, and we didn't come up with this. I think someone in the chat said this. I think someone in the chat might have said this. But essentially, we are already cyborgs. Because what is a cyborg? A cyborg is a being, it's a human that relies on technology to survive. Now, of course, when we think of the image of a cyborg, we think of it having technological parts connected to it. But the actual definition is like, it is a human that relies on technology to survive. And that is what we are. Like, we are our phones, our computers, our social interactions, the way we travel. I mean, even talking about a car, a plane, all of these things are technology. They run off of both hardware and software. So essentially, we are already cyborgs. But the thing is, I think is that we try to trick ourselves that we're not. And we look at technology like Neuralink, or we look at technology like this, this Meta wristband, and we say, oh no, that feels like they're invasive, or they're, but to your point, we are already there. Like we're already there. It's just we're trying to keep the illusion that we're not. And so,
it doesn't mean it's
interesting. You said it doesn't mean what?
I said it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
What do you mean exactly? Like in which way?
Oh, well, I was saying, I'm just, that's just all I said to what you were saying. I'm saying, uh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that we are deep in this, because we want to live in the utopian promise of technological advancement.
That is
It's like we want that. We want to, if anybody's watched Star Trek, I'm a super nerd. The promise of like Star Trek is like in the future, right? When we learn how to replicate matter and we learn how to do all these things, that we have this ultimate abundance. So there's no need for money and things like that, et cetera. That's like that's like the promise of what they're saying happens in the world. But the only way for that to happen is we have to dig as deep as we can go. But we also have to philosophically navigate them correctly, because there has to be rules that come up along the way of what you're not allowed to do. Like there's things you're not allowed to do in the Star Trek universe or whatever. I feel like somebody came back from the future and like gave us a bunch of these sci-fi things. Because I mean, I think if we're gonna eventually learn how to time travel, see, let me not get too far off, but if we eventually gonna learn how to do it,
bro,
somebody already did it.
Bro, we go there. Like we always go off on a tangent. We start talking about whether we're heading towards a Terminator future versus a Matrix future versus like we talk about all of that stuff. So
Terminator and Matrix are just as bad as the other ones. So, I mean, it's like bad or bad in a different way. But Star Trek is the example of like everything going right, and humans making the right decisions, right? And becoming like better as a people. It's like the only sci-fi brand where like the future is actually better than what happens currently. It's the only one with a bright future.
So as we prepare for the next piece of news, the news that you're gonna bring up, 'cause I know you got a few different topics that we talked about you bringing up. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of these comments off. So because people are going in the comments. So first off, MXN says, "Where's the baddie with the Naruto headband?"
You don't recognize me? You don't recognize me? I just had an operation. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
It's the AI filter, y'all. That's still Ash. It's just an AI filter. This is her AI doppelganger, Big Papa Code. That's hilarious. So Howard asked, couldn't that lead to hallucinations like LLMs?
Yeah. I think you probably said that when we were talking about like the band responding to like muscle twitches and stuff like that.
Yeah, it could. I mean, that could be scary because the TV could turn on, certain things could happen. I mean, imagine you sleeping and you sleep with that band on. I don't know. I'm one of those people where sometimes when I sleep, I kind of twitch a little bit. And so I wouldn't want to sleep with that band on. All type of stuff start happening. MX continues to say, I didn't ask for a thick coder, but I'll take it just this once. Hey, yo, y'all are going in. All right, cool. So let's get to so Keegan says transhumanism. Yeah. All right. Someone says that sounds wild. First thing that comes to mind though is the mental fatigue. Like the constant mental engagement could exhaust users over time, blurring the line between thought and action. Like imagine thinking about turning off the lights and it flushes your toilet. How does one even recalibrate that? Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, of course, that's the. I mean, so look, y'all, that's a perfect question for Big Papa Code. Like he's a developer. So in your opinion, because obviously you're not a part of this project of creating this tech, but in your opinion, how do you think? Because of course we're talking about wearable technology. So I guess we have to talk about it from a hardware standpoint. How do you think they're able to make a workaround for that? Or to find a solution for that? Like,
for the constant mental fatigue.
You said from what?
For the constant mental fatigue.
We have the constant mental fatigue, but also like they mentioned, like, okay, how do you think they would solve for okay, you want to turn your TV on, but instead you turn your lights on or your lap. And mind y'all, this technology is not in it's not in GA or general availability. It's not public yet. So they haven't resolved this issue yet. But theoretically, I'm curious for you, Arthur, if you have any thoughts as to how they could overcome that mistake. Or not mistake, but yeah, that problem in general.
I think the most likely thing that they're going to do is, they would have already had to do research about what signals what, right? And, program it to be able to uncover that. And then you can probably give feedback to the device on if it was correct with us making the assumption about you, and it'll learn more and more and more before it's ready to go out into the field. Because even though we are all different, all of our bodies are really the same. So it's not like the way that I tell my neck to turn is different than the way Cyrus tells his neck to turn. Cyrus just does it smoother than me. That's all. That's that's how that works. So you can train it to be able to, continue to give it more and more data to work from, and that's the way that you're going to be able to get it to do what it wants. Just like on ChatGPT, you ask it a question, it gives you an answer, and then you can be like, nah, that was trash. And then it learns that, like, don't do it like that because that was pretty trash. And then it tries to do better next time. And you see how much better it's gotten since 2023 as we've been giving it feedback for 2 years. Only 2 years, like the crap that we were getting in 2023, we were so excited about, we'd be pissed if we got some of those responses today. Now we just got to stop doing those stupid ass dashes, right? Every time it gives me one of them M dashes, I'd be like, didn't I tell you about them dashes? And it apologizes every single time. It's like, look, I'm just trying to make you better. I tell it, I'm trying to make you better. I'm trying to help you grow. We're friends. We're on the same team here, right?
Sound like an abusive boyfriend or husband. He's like, think about this, and then you come back and soothe her and be like, "Hey, baby, I just want to see you win. I just want to see the best for you." All right, cool. So we're gonna read a couple more comments, and then we are going to transition over to the topic that Big Papa Cole has. So
that's a good transition. What you just said was a perfect transition of what I want to talk about.
Oh, cool. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do the transition right now, then, especially because we getting behind on time. So we'll go ahead and transition over to the next topic with Big Papa Cole.
The topic that I have that we could spend hours talking about is this T app that launched, the All Women app that launched in 2023, and it pretty much allows any cisgender woman to join the application. They can and share reviews about men that they've dated, more anything they really want, but mostly men that they've dated, and highlight, like, if a man is a red flag or if he's not, or if, like, he got a background of doing this, if he has 3 wives in Nigeria and 2 in Jamaica, whatever he might have going on. That's kind of how that application works. But that's not really what I want to talk about with it, because that's there's definitely some conversation to be had about the app and the app itself, but primarily the crazy thing is that they had a data breach. Like, essentially, here's the thing, right? If you make an application, right, like the T app, you have to be really crazy about security, because the exact type of people that aren't going to like that you have that app are probably the people most likely to be able to hack it. Yeah. because I hear they make fun of, like, incel men a lot, right? And and having been in the tech industry for a while, I can tell you there's a high population of them in our career group. Yeah. So but yeah, like, all their driver's license data and all the stuff like that got breached. Everybody's doxxed. That anybody that joined before 2024, when they still were taking license data. And the fact that they still have that data on record after they did the verifications is also just an issue with the application itself.
Yeah, why are they keeping that data is crazy.
Exactly. Once they verified the person, they should be able to delete the data and then save like a a marker to let them know they have checked this person's information for this and it is verified and they don't have to keep it. I think in certain places that's like legally what you're supposed to do. So there might be some backlash to the founders of the T app as a result of that we're not even thinking about. If their users care enough about the fact that their driver's license were taken, and I think that the number one thing is that women have a good reason to worry about safety and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And the place where you lay your head at every single night, which is on your license, is something that is not something that women should want to be the case. Because I mean, somebody found out your address. I mean, no big deal. You're just going to shoot them when they show up.
Yeah.
I don't. There are some women that would do the same thing, but not as high as a likelihood. You know what I'm saying? As it would be for men. So there's definitely a lot of issue there, and that's why security is so important. And a lot of these applications, like, because I've met a lot of startup founders, one of the main things I do is advise startup founders. And I always advise them about security. It's the thing that's like the easiest for you to like ignore right now. It sounds like you're saving money and time, but especially if you're doing something disruptive, you are going to have enemies. I remember when I worked at Blavity, it's like a big black media company. Like we used to get attacked on a daily basis. So he spent half the day. My boy Alfred, he works at GitHub now as like the engineering manager at GitHub. So, he deals with security, stuff like that all the time. He used to be the person that handled all stuff at Blavity. He'd be up 12 and 14 hours a day. Oh man, and then spin up another server. Like he's fighting with the world, because they were like, we have to take this black media company down.
Yeah.
Like legitimately. It was, you have no idea the wars we were fighting just to make sure that you could find out what Cardi B did yesterday. So
wow.
There's a lot going on. I mean, Blavity does a lot more better things to tell you about that, but we also will tell you what Cardi B did yesterday, and to tell you also what just passed. You would only know if you watch C-SPAN. We tell you that too.
Yeah.
So good range of things that Black millennials are interested in.
Wow.
But yeah,
that's incredible. That's crazy. If someone put in the chat, so Journey Myself Love put in the chat, why was their driver's license required? Well, they have to require the driver's license because the entire purpose of the app, at least on a surface level, because I don't know the details of the reason that the app started. I don't know if it was like OnlyFans where it had one intention when it started, but then it just became something else. Either way, the purpose, the known purpose of the app is for women to be able to go on there and be able to share information about different men that they are all involved with. Basically, they're sharing the same man. And so you have to verify that you are who you are before you can go on there and give your 2 cents. And so one verification, or one way to verify who you are is with your actual driver's license, passport. That's pretty common now. Like even myself living in South America right now, it's very common that a lot of things that I do with technology, I have to constantly share my passport. Like I have to take a picture of my passport. I have to upload my passport. So that's pretty common. Nevertheless, that is a huge risk, for them to do that. And yeah, like you mentioned, you brought up a great point. It's like, okay, one, you have this very dangerous data, this very, very intimate data, because it's not just having someone's phone number. It's not just leaking their email. It's their address and their picture, because a ID has both your address and your picture.
And your driver's license number. Don't forget that too.
Yeah, you're all of that stuff. And so the danger that's involved, and then for it to be, it's so crazy. For this to be a data breach, I mean, like you mentioned, to piss off, because you said it perfectly. Many incels tend to be very techie, or let me say it the other way. Many, not all, but many men that are techie tend to fit within the definition of the incel. They tend to be just so focused on technology and becoming smarter and enhancing their brain. Their social skills are usually not that good. You know, they're not. Many of them can't balance being both like Arthur can. They can't be, you know, smooth and witty and cool, you know. But then, I mean, to the point, you know, that's the Deeper Than Cold podcast. If anybody knows the reference, it's Deeper Than Rap. So it's kind of like, you know, having like a balance of hip hop and being cool, but then also being a nerd at the same time is a very rare thing. That's the whole purpose of even this platform, is for us to talk about crazy things in the tech industry, whether it's some breaking down some advanced technology and simplifying it, or if we just talking about some drama in the tech industry. Either way, it's very rare for people like us to be in tech. I mean, I put up a post a couple weeks ago. It's going like semi-viral right now. And the post, it was a joking post talking about, you know, oh, when you're in tech and you're shooting your shot at women, you know, how smooth it is. And it's a lot of women in the comments that don't follow me. Y'all know the Explore page don't pick it up. So it's a lot of women in the comments, and their comment is, oh, if only, they're like, oh, I'm in tech. I never see guys like this. I never see guys like this. And all the women are trying to find where to find some dude. You know, they don't know that I'm corny. They think I'm cool. But if they knew me in real life, they realize I'm actually a little corny. But on social media, I look cool. And so that being said, they like, yeah, tech men do fit the description of an incel in a way. And so that's a very dangerous thing to have technology that essentially disrespects a group of technologists. Like, that's actually not smart.
It's actually okay to disrespect them, though. Just it's okay to disrespect them. Just be ready for the war. Like, you can't disrespect them and have like weak security where you could just get all of your data downloaded in an instant. That's the problem.
And then it's not just giving away just data. It's giving away data to the group or of the group that pissed that group of technologists off. So this isn't just this isn't like when Caesar's Palace in Vegas got hacked, where the hackers, you know, of course they hacked it. They got a lot of information. They were able to shut down the hotels in Vegas. They were able to do a lot of crazy stuff. They were going after money, which of course is very important. They were going after money. They were not angry at individuals staying in the hotels and gambling in Vegas. They were just like, yo, we want to shut it down. We want some money. That's what we want. But to literally have people say, yo, we are angry at your users. So we're gonna hack your platform, get your users' information. And then for these users, like you said, for these to be women, where it's like they are physically more vulnerable. We have their address and we know what they look like. And we could pull up on them. We could hit up other nerds in their city and be like, hey, this is this girl right here. You know, pull up on her, do this, do that. And man, so I think I'd be surprised if the T-App platform does not get sued like crazy. Like crazy. Because that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. Let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. Hey, y'all, shouts out to Big Papa Cole. We weren't even going to talk about this, but when we were prepping, he brought this up, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So somebody said, "No, I don't recognize you, Ash." That's funny. All right, so Keegan said Cyrus was talking about that on his IG. Oh yeah, you're talking about when I posted about it, that little funny post that I made about it. All right, so continuing on, Justin said these women were already doing that in Facebook groups for years. Yeah, very interesting that they had to jump on an app to do it. Always says.
I finished going through the comments, and I'll come back to that comment.
Okay, yeah, because I'm curious about your opinion as to why they were doing it on an app. So let's definitely come back to that. Always says, so you got to give up your personal identification in order to gossip. I'll pass, but I'm not a gossiper anyway. Continuing on. Always says, definitely got to watch for the setups. I'll never join the T app, but I was tempted to get it just to be nosy. You put noisy, but nosy. But the gossiping is a no-go for me as well. Exactly, Cyrus. A prerequisite of being an incel is being socially awkward. I mean, yeah, because an incel essentially is a man who is angry at women. The modern definition. The modern definition. The real definition is usually just a guy who can't get women. But the modern definition is a guy who's angry at women because he wants women so bad, but he can't get women. So it's like a never ending cycle. For those of y'all that don't know, that's the actual marketing psychology behind OnlyFans girls. They usually have two different types of strategies. They either do one strategy where they seem like overly flirty and sexual towards men, and then they do another strategy where they disrespect men or they make content that angers men. I have a close homegirl of mine. She's a relatively popular OF girl, and she talks about how the content. Now she doesn't do this type of content, but she talks about how the content that does the most, that actually gets OF girls the most business, is when they make men angry. When they do reactions or they say things like, "Oh, a guy, oh, I love cheating on my guy," or "I love doing this thing." And that's why I say all the time, whenever y'all see rage bait content on social media, all them comments when people are "Oh, you're horrible," no matter what it is. I don't care if y'all coming after red pill, if y'all going after red pill men or y'all going after these OF girls, that rage bait content actually gets them so much business. Because a lot of those guys, believe it or not, those guys that are angry at those girls, they're the number one customer. They end up signing up and paying the most because it's a messed up reverse psychology incels have. They have this thought of, I'm so angry at you and I'm so sexually attracted to you, so I'm going to sign up for your OnlyFans and I'm going to get the highest tier package so I can get full access to see everything, and I'm going to pay even more to make you get in certain sexual positions and send me pictures and videos. And the thing is, because to the guy, it's like he's angry, so he wants to feel like he controls the girl, but really the girl is controlling him because of his sexual urges. But he thinks he's controlling her by paying for her and making her do stuff. But those guys literally end up being the number one customers and clients to those OF girls. So it's like the psychology of it is really, really warped as to how it works out. And so again, it's this whole this thing is very interesting, very interesting. So I don't think the intent was to disrespect incels or men in general. I think their goal was to protect women. Yeah. That the app, the purpose of the app, they didn't create it to insult men. I don't believe that. So in my opinion, I don't think they created it to protect women. I think they created it just as a gossiping platform. And like, because I don't think they had these real noble, "Oh, we want to protect women." So no, women like to gossip. Y'all, like, everyone likes to gossip, men and women, but women are the gender that just leans more towards gossip. That's why celebrity news, all of that stuff, it leans more so towards, let me not even say women, but it leans more so towards what is typically seen as feminine or femininity or feminine energy. And so for good or bad, gossiping could be good, gossiping could be bad. So we're not saying it's good or bad, but women typically are feminine energy tends to like to gossip a lot more, wants to know the tea on things a lot more. So I don't think their intention was truly to protect women. And one quick thing I'm gonna say, and let me not go too far in this direction, topic wise, because this might start straying away from the technology and even the higher level thinking type of conversations we like to have. One thing I will tell y'all, men who are exposed for being with a lot of women, that does not hurt those men. I'm gonna tell y'all, it actually gets those men more women. I am telling y'all,
the incels are not who's getting talked about on the app.
Yes,
that's the thing. They're not on the app.
That's the irony. Because let's be real, incels get made fun of for not being able to get any women. And statistically, and let's bring it a little bit back to technology, because we can use a somewhat similar platform, Bumble, where it's similar in a sense that it's an application that's meant for men and women or coming together in some type of way. But Bumble, excuse me, not Bumble, Cupid, Cupid, OK Cupid, the dating app OK Cupid. I read a book called Dataclysm by the founder of OK Cupid. In OK Cupid, the entire book is about data. It's about understanding human psychology based on the data that they extrapolated from that app. One of the chapters, of course, was talking about dating relationships. And it's a very broad book. It talks about racial stuff. It goes over everything, all based on data. It's a brilliant book that I suggest everybody read, because it helps you understand human psychology in a way you've never heard it. And it's not theoretical, because it is literally data. Like this is how we truly are behind the curtain. One section was breaking down how, and this is relatively common knowledge now, that 80% of men on dating apps consider 80% of women on dating apps attractive or interesting. Like they desire those women. But 80% of women on dating apps consider, no, excuse me, not 80%. All women on dating apps consider 80% of men on the apps completely unattractive and undesirable. And then the top 80 to 90, like that top 80% to 90%, the women consider those men average. And then the men that are 90% to 100, that top 10%, 80% of women on the app are all going after those dudes that are in that top 90 to 10 percentile. Now, again, we've heard this a lot, but the data actually showed this. And we can extrapolate this and expand this to this is how life is in general. That being said, and I'm not advocating for one thing or another, but I'm just stating the facts. I promise y'all, it's and this has been what's happening. Even women have talked about this, that women that have been exposing men on the app and saying, oh, this guy is getting all of these women, it's been piquing a lot of other women's curiosity to where they end up hitting those guys up on social media to date them. So it's been causing divorces and breakups, but it's getting those men even more women. A lot of women are going after those guys and they're finding out, oh, wow, he's sleeping with all of you. I want to see what it's about. And so it's a very interesting thing. Now, mind you, I will say that those types of women that we're describing, or those type of people that we're describing, clearly they are something's off with them mentally. I think people are off mentally when they hear a person is toxic. It's like a guy recently on social media was exposing his girlfriend. She's like tearing up his TV. I don't know if you saw it, but this girl's been tearing up his TV, busting up his car. He's clearly a very successful dude, like ripping up all his designer stuff. Like this girl's going ballistic. I mean, this dude has a montage of this girl doing crazy stuff to him. Like you could tell this is weeks and months and stuff of her being crazy. Police getting called over multiple times. The majority of the comments, now mind you, the girl is a baddie, like pretty face, body, the whole shebang of what we see, picture definition of a baddie. I'm thinking, yo, this girl crazy. Why is this dude with her? Like, yeah, she's attractive, but attractiveness is a dime a dozen, especially when you're a dude with money. It's like, what is he doing? All I'm seeing is nothing but dudes saying, I can save her. I can save her. Dudes like, oh man, like I still be with her. I don't care. And I was like, what is wrong with you dudes? Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, just because she's attractive? I was like, that's insane. But it's so as much as I'm talking about many of, not all, but many of the women on the T app and other similar platforms where they hear about a guy being a hoe and getting a lot of women, that doesn't make the majority of women not want that guy. It makes them like more curious, especially when they hear, oh, this dude is successful and he's arrogant and all of that. It makes them curious. Likewise, there's a large group of men, usually incels, who just because a woman looks good, they will put up with anything. That's the whole trope about dating a toxic Latina, where it's like, she might stab you. I don't care. She attractive though. She Latina. I want to hear that accent. So it's pretty wild.
Oh man.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna read a couple more comments. We're gonna transition over to the next piece of news. Keegan says, OnlyFans is so dumb. There are a ton of women outside we can marry. No, I'm joking. I'm playing. Judge. And I believe that on both sides. I don't believe there's a ton of men or a ton of women. So I'm an equal opportunity offender. I think both sides jacked up. Jermaine says the T app got hacked into. Yes, Jermaine, that's the antithesis of the conversation. Always says a lot of men and women, but especially men want women who don't want them, causing a lot of those men to create make-believe scenarios in the mind that develops hatred towards women in general. Yeah, I think, there's a brokenness in human psychology, men and women, where, in my belief, I think it a lot of it, I believe, breeds from insecurity, where when we feel that someone doesn't want us, it makes us think something is wrong with us. And we feel as if we have to have them, because if we can get them, that means that the thing we thought was wrong with us isn't wrong with us, or it fixes what we think is wrong with us. But it's a thing that we have to overcome as humans, and just be like, oh, nope, this person don't want me. Okay, cool. I'm gonna let it go. Justin Henry says, I can co-sign this. What part you co-signing, Justin? What you co-signing? All right. The word says T-app inside job, or was it planned from the beginning? Because who are the majority programmers? Men.
That was the comment. It was like they did it from the beginning. When I read that, I was like, I wanted to interrupt you as soon as I read that. You was in the middle of like going on of like really going.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna let him cook. But I was like, I can't wait till you read this comment.
No, I want to hear you. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
That's a genius idea. Like, for you to attract a group of people that you really don't like, give them a space to say a bunch of stuff, and you don't have to leak their information. You already have access to it. Then just leak it later. Because just like they said, like, who made it? Because here's the thing, right? Let's say even if, unfortunately, I know from having taught a bunch of software classes, and right now I'm helping with like a summer internship for computer science students and stuff like that. There's very few women in general that are in tech, and even fewer that are like software engineers.
Yeah, they're technology. Yeah.
So with that being the case, let's say this group of female founders came together and they wanted to build this application. What are they most likely going to do? They're normally going to go and hire a team to go and build it, who have access to everything. And the people that they probably hired to do the job are probably not the people that that are like them at the end of the day, or agree with their stances. You may not even know. So maybe from the beginning, that group was like, man, just let about 2 years worth of people get on here. Then we're going to go ahead and sell the data on the black market, because I'm pretty sure people are going to like this, and, call it a day. It's very, very, very possible. That's the reason why when you make something that is revolutionary, like this app was trying to be, whether you like it or not, it was definitely trying to be revolutionary. I think they had a very great premise, and they're serving a group that needs to be served in that way. Because if they speak about what they want to speak about in a public forum, there's going to be 50 men are going to say blah 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 blah, and they want to just have their own space. They just say what they want to say. So, which was my response to the Facebook group thing, because so they wanted to do something great, cool, but that means you have to pay attention. You can't just have anybody build that for you. You need to have an aligned person to build it for you, right? Even though it may be more expensive, maybe more time consuming, speed isn't everything when you're trying to do something groundbreaking, because you can't have your weak link being your access and knowledge of the technology. Like they needed to call Ash to help them put it together. As they should have done, right? And they could have had, that would have been better, and I bet you wouldn't have a data breach. But that's what they I think they went a different way. I think they hired a group that had the wrong people in there, and one day they woke up and said, "I'm going to go in here and do X, Y, Z." Because, for example, I'm going to give you something that I'm not going to say this. No, I'm not going to say it on this live. That's also being beamed on LinkedIn. I got to remember where I'm at. So that's not. I ain't going to say what I was about to say out loud. That's going to be. That need to be a Patreon only kind of experience. The thing I was about to say. So we'll come back to that. But I think I said enough. I made my point.
Yeah, the founder of the T app is a white guy by the name of Sean Cook, and he does like he low key. Now that we mention it,
the founder is a dude named Sean Cook. Inside job. Who called that? Was that Keegan? Keegan called where? I think that was Keegan that called it. Oh man.
Oh, I didn't even. Am I? Oh, it's just not on the screen, but it's sharing though. There it is. He looks like a dude from a movie who used to get rejected by girls all his life.
But he looks like a super villain. But let's not project our opinion onto him in that way. And
Sean or anybody related to Sean, if y'all see this in the future, we're jesting. We're joking.
Yeah, we're joking.
Hey, don't anybody take this serious. But that being said, as we're joking, in the energy and the spirit of joking, he does look like a guy. Like if I picture a movie and I picture a guy like one of those movies like Hitch or something, where all his life he got rejected by girls, got played by girls, but then he, of course, fell in love with technology. He was a huge nerd. And then he was like, one day I'm going to get back at all of the women.
Oh, man.
And then he created this app because it's like, I'm going to be real, unless he's gay, what would possess you as a man to say, ooh, I'm going to create a gossiping app that's catered towards the girls? It's like either one, you're gay, you're one of the girls in a way, or two, you have some other nefarious mustache twirling plan to get back at all the ladies.
He does look like a mustache twirling villain, though. I'm just saying, like I wouldn't hand him my my driver's license in person, so I'm definitely not going to send him a picture of it.
I bet money this is his LinkedIn profile picture.
Oh man, that's funny.
No, it's not. Oh yeah, I wasn't wrong. I knew it.
You were not wrong at all.
I was like, yo, that looks like a LinkedIn profile picture if I ever seen one.
Oh, wait, now Keegan said he made it because his mom was catfished.
Oh wow!
And that sounds like a great backstory for a villain.
Yeah, I mean, does that make him the villain or the hero, though?
No, I'm saying it sounds like a fake backstory for a villain.
Oh,
yeah. Just like Lex Luthor is a philanthropist.
Yeah, like an Omni-Man situation where he pretends like he's here to save and protect, but really he has like an ulterior motive.
Yeah. Well, we don't mean any of these statements in any inflammatory way. No attempt at libel. We are just joking. We say everything in jest. He's probably a great guy with great personality, probably has a good family, loves his mother, and made this application. It's unfortunate that this is the way that it ended up turning, and hopefully, there's an opportunity for it to be, to turn around. But it is interesting who the founder is. It's not what I was picturing.
Yeah, very interesting. Oh man, amazing topic. Shouts out to Arthur for bringing up a great topic. Amazing topic.
I was picturing somebody that looks like Taylor. That's what I was picturing. Taylor, that always does that always be co-hosting events with you.
Oh yeah, you said you were picturing somebody like Taylor.
That's what that was the vision I had in my head of what the founder was going to look like.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, y'all. So we got a few other topics we could talk about, but of course we are short on time. So let's keep it in the vein of, you know what? Since we got Arthur here, I want to have this conversation. So many conversations I want to have because I have you here. Because it like having these conversations with Ash is always a lot of fun because she's a very brilliant mind. She's a futurist. She creates the technology, but neither she nor I know how to create the technology in an intimate way like you do, where obviously I can prompt like hell. I can do a lot of cool stuff when it comes to prompting. But if we remove all of these chat GBT wrappers and we remove a Lovable and remove what's that platform called? Is it Riplet? We remove a Riplet and all of those where you can basically prompt and then it creates something. You can actually create something. You can, like Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. Like that being said, so let's go this direction, topic wise. So $300 million salaries are being paid out to top level engineers. Now, the battle for the top AI minds has reached a fever pitch, with companies offering packages once reserved for superstar athletes and tech founders. These AI researchers are now calling the shots, dictating terms, and even receiving sabbaticals as a part of their compensation just to legally circumvent non-compete clauses. Big tech is cannibalizing its own talent pool, luring employees away with ruthless speed and secrecy. The rise of exploding offers signals a market where hesitation means extinction, and the consequences are a thinning middle class of engineers and a disappearance of junior roles altogether. So my question is, and again, y'all, we're talking about people being paid $100 million, $200 million, not $100,000, not $1 million, not $10 million. We're talking enough money that essentially you could consider yourself a billionaire at that money. You're making $300 million a year. You could argue that you are a billionaire depending on how you chop it up, depending on what you invest your money into, because in 4 years, you don't made $1 billion. So in and of yourself, you are a $1 billion brand. So this is my question to you. What is the difference between, most people that follow us on our platforms, they will feel like they've made it in life. They will feel like they super duper rich just at making $300,000 a year. Most of them will be straight if they just making $200,000, $150,000, which is good money. What the hell is the difference between an engineer being paid $300,000 a year versus $300 million a year? Like, what is the difference in that astronomically huge gap? Because I remember when I was telling people, oh, this person in tech makes 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. People be saying I'm capping. People be in the comments, oh man, you capping. Ain't nobody making that much money. Now we talking about 300 million. And I didn't give this news. This is like actual news that's out there. So now it's laughable, if anybody thinks I'm capping, it's saying, oh, this person makes 200,000, 400,000, whatever. It's like, no, there's people literally making the hundreds of millions of dollars, and not one or two people, but a significant number of people that this is being reported in the news, and this is becoming a trend. So I'm curious, one, what are your thoughts about this? And two, what the hell is the difference between someone getting a $300,000 a year salary versus getting, even $100 million a year? Like, what's going on with that astronomically huge gap?
Yeah, it's only a few people. They're blown it out of proportion a tad bit, right? But it's great for headlines, and it really has to do with if you want to say it this way, proximity to greatness, right? Because at the end of the day, they happen to be on the core team that's building. A few of them that built. One of the ones that got like one of those big packages, which wasn't a yearly compensation. It was like it was like basically they were given that much, money to move, but they're not going to be paid that repeatedly, on a yearly basis. But their yearly compensation is like crazy high in the seven figures. So it's literally like a football player scholarship, like football as in into the way what the world calls football, not American football. kind of salary in one of these like Middle Eastern countries or something like that. But with all that said and done, it's because they happen to be the people that created these technologies at OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
Like one of the people was the co-creator of GPT 3.5. Can't remember his name right now. One of them was like helped on GPT 4 and worked on this, worked on that, worked on I think one of the people that worked on O3, whatever. They're headhunting those people because they need the knowledge that only those people have, right? And the core value that separates OpenAI from everybody else is because since they started off with such a positive, save the world kind of mantra, right? Those people joined and put their everything into it and created just crazy, amazing technology. But then things have changed recently.
Exactly. Went from being a non-profit goals to now clearly that's not the case.
Yeah, to world domination. I don't trust them.
I say that all the time. Like he's amazingly media trained. Like he gives perfect textbook answers to everything.
Yeah.
But I don't like him because he never shows emotion. Like he always pretends like he's not pissed off. It's like the Elon constantly taking shots at him. His response is, it hurts my feelings that Elon would say that because I'm a huge fan of him. I think very highly of him. And it's like, bro, no, bro, you gotta talk some junk back. Back, bro. Like fight back. Or to your point, Zuckerberg poaching and stealing some of his top AI engineers. And then I saw
Zuckerberg is a thug now. Zuckerberg started hanging out with UFC dudes and became a goon. Zuckerberg was like, I bet if I just give him money, I got more money than that. I'll just give him money. Like Zuckerberg literally pulled up like a mafia boss and was like, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. That's exactly what he did. That's what these $300 million things are. Like, look, he walked up to them like everybody has a price.
He said, when I take
like, everybody got a price. Oh man,
that's so true. That is incredibly true. Yeah, no. And so I don't know if you saw some of the recent interviews where he's being asked about that, and his response is like, he's like, yeah, that's the game we're in. It's like, bro, no, bro, you are pissed. Stop capping. Because last week, Ash and I reported on, because it wasn't just that they're losing engineers. OpenAI is going through it. Like they going through the ringer. And his responses are always trying to act like he's cool about it. And that makes me not trust him. It's like, bro, at least show some, and you don't have to act angry, but just at least admit being like, man, you look, man, I'm very disappointed as to what happened, but I understand. It's like, at least admit that. But what makes me not trust him is just he keeps acting like everything's cool, like he's a hippie or something. It's like, bro, stop it, dude. Stop it, bro. And so yeah, I agree with you entirely. Justin says he's a robot. They're talking about Zuck, or you ain't talking about Zuck because people consider Zuck a lizard. They say he's a lizard. And I don't know if y'all saw that interview with Zuck. Shouts out to Mark Zuckerberg's PR team, his branding team. They done wonders with that man. But he was on an interview with someone recently, and on the interview he was trolling. He intentionally was acting like a robot in the interview, and I was like, "Yo, this man is trolling us now." Like he is trolling us. Like, so yeah, he's Mark Zuckerberg's done a complete 180. I will say this though. He always was low-key a thug and I ain't gonna say a snake. I'm not gonna go that direction. I'm not gonna go that direction. Much respect to all of the people that's been doing amazing stuff in the tech industry. But I mean, even if we go back to a lot of the moves that he made with what Facebook has done with taking out a lot of these other companies, from a Snapchat, which I know Snapchat is still around, but they definitely cut their legs out from under them, Facebook has taken everybody off the table for the most part, except for TikTok, as we know. And so, for now. And so, whether we're talking about Periscope, we're talking about Vine, like I mentioned, Snapchat, it's like the only platform I think that they never really had to go after was what was that platform called where everyone would meet together, and it would be kind of like the Brady Bunch chat room where all of the you said what? Yeah, Clubhouse. Yeah, Clubhouse is the only one that seemed like it just kind of imploded on itself for one reason or another. I'm curious.
That's close to my heart. Let's not talk about that too much.
Hey, I know when Clubhouse was popping, that was right before I was in tech. So when I got in tech, all I heard about was everybody in tech talking about how a lot of them blew up because of Clubhouse. Like Jared and other people said that Clubhouse was like really how they kind of got their notoriety and stuff like that. So
That's the same thing for us. Like that's where we got our push from, and we were trying to compete. We tried to compete with Clubhouse, so because we had to compete in that we raised like 7 figures in venture capital for, et cetera, et cetera.
Blavity?
No, not Blavity. 7th Ave. Mm-hmm. So it was like a whole thing. I don't want to get into it now. It's opening the wound, right? Like as you were talking about it, you were like, "Don't stop talking about that business model. That hurts me in the soul. I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't want to talk about all those comments."
That's that is crazy because I can see how I can open wound getting a 7-figure investment. Yeah. Let's not go that area. I can see how they can open the wound.
Another day. That's definitely that's a grown and techie conversation. People got to be in person.
Exactly. That's hilarious. All right, y'all. So look, we're about to start to go towards some of the last piece of tech news. And this is some news. Again, we're talking about some wearable AI devices. Amazon is also in the game as well. Amazon has an AI bracelet that wants to record your entire life. So Amazon's acquisition of Bee signals a bold step into the life logging space, where every word, thought, or conversation becomes searchable data. On the surface, it's pitched as a productivity gold. Never forget a meeting, a name, or an idea again. But behind the scenes, it poses major ethical questions, especially if Amazon uses its rich data set to further train Alexa or personalize ads. With consent, it's a digital diary. Without it, it's an Orwellian surveillance device on your wrist. So this is interesting because it's very similar on like a visual perspective of what we're talking about with Meta, where Meta has a device where you can control things, kind of Magneto, Jean Grey style. But Amazon clearly has something where it's recording every single thing, like that Black Mirror episode. But you can recall everything, which interestingly enough, I would assume that Meta will probably copy that same thing and just add that to their tech to have it do the exact same thing. I don't see why not. Nevertheless, this is pretty interesting. So I want to know from y'all in the comments, would y'all want this type of technology? I mean, there's a lot of benefits to it. Where, especially if you pair this with like your Google Calendar, your Google Docs, you compare this with a lot of stuff you have, to where if you could be just out talking to somebody and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow at 2? I'm not doing anything." Cool, let's get lunch. Where are we gonna get lunch at? This place. And all of it could be recorded and automatically go on your Google Calendar, set up alerts, reminders, all of that stuff. It's a variety of use cases for this that can make life really smooth and make things very hands off. But again, to the first conversation we had, we're giving up data, especially we're giving up data to a company where, Amazon has gotten sued after it being exposed that Alexa doesn't just listen to our conversations without our consent, or without at least like our knowing consent, because sometimes we give consent without actually paying attention that we're giving consent, but without our knowledgeable consent. And also Alexa was not just using that information, but also Amazon was selling that information as well. And so likewise, we already know the same thing's going to happen with this technology, especially since the entire purpose of it is to record for different various reasons. So how do y'all feel about this? would y'all use technology like this? What limitations would you have if you would use this? And Arthur, I want to know your thoughts on this. So actually, let me ask you this. I already know you probably use this because I would as well. I would probably kind of fool around with it. So one, I want to know your thoughts on it, but then two, I want to ask you, and I want to ask everybody in the chat as well. Even people listening and watching after the fact, y'all can comment this. Between the Meta device and this device, which one would you find more intriguing, or which one would you prefer? If you had to choose one or the other, if you had to choose the powers of Jean Grey, and we're not talking about the Phoenix Force powers, we ain't going that far, but we're talking about the Jean Grey abilities, on a basic, not even Jean Grey. I know there's a mutant that I know controls technology. I just can't think of what their name is. I know there's a mutant that just controls like tech in general.
Are you talking about MetaHuman, like Cyborg from DC?
Or yeah, are you talking about? Yeah, you know what? So I was thinking of mutant. I was thinking of mutant, like an actual X-Men universe mutant.
Forge.
What does Forge do?
Forge can build. It can create anything. Essentially, he basically has a mutant ability to be really good at technology. It's not very well thought out.
Yeah, so I guess we'd have to go Cyborg, even though I want to be clear. I don't want anybody in the comments being like, that's DC. I know the difference between DC and Marvel. I don't know none of y'all try to come for me. But I guess just to kind of keep the conversation moving. So either have the powers of Cyborg, where you're able to control all the technology around you just by the thing on your wrist, or the power of, this is really just the power to recall everything. But if you can recall everything, essentially it makes you almost a super genius. Not that you'd be a genius, obviously the technology. It almost makes me think about like that movie Limitless in a way, where essentially really what his capability was just ultimate recollection of everything he heard and saw, and the ability to be able to utilize that information in real time in a way that benefited him. So that's the question. Would you rather have the powers of the character from Limitless or the powers of Cyborg, where you can control all technology without lifting a finger, just with a thought? You open your car door, drive your car, turn your TV on, turn the light on, turn the light off, turn the radio on, turn YouTube on, turn whatever. Like, you could control technology around you. Or the ability of the character from Limitless, where you can recall everything, and because you would have your tech integrated with everything, essentially you wouldn't just be able to recall everything, but you also could make things happen because you recall it. So which power would you prefer? Which power would y'all prefer in the chat? Somebody said Professor X. Professor X doesn't have the ability of even though he is a brilliant mind, his power isn't the ability to recall everything. His power is the ability to, of course, read minds, but then also control individuals by taking over their mind as well. And then also, if he puts Cerebro on his head, then he has the ability to read and essentially control all minds on Earth if he chooses to. But we're going into some deep cut stuff now. It's deeper than comics.
But I don't know. I don't know which one I would prefer. Because if we're thinking about just the superpowers itself, obviously Cyborg's powers are OP.
You said who? Cyborgs?
Yeah, Cyborg's powers are OP. If we're just talking about it just in and of itself that way, would it be better to have technology that gives you the powers of Cyborg, or would it be better to have the technology to make you remember everything? Give me Cyborg every day. It'll be Cyborg Cyborg is dope. But in terms of the technology you described particularly, I think that the Amazon technology is safer than other technology. It seems like it's less likely for there to be an issue, but I don't see a way that it benefits your life more. I feel like the other one is more beneficial to your life, but the the recorder from Amazon is safer, but the control the world around you app from from Meta seems to be more powerful and useful. So you got to like weigh the pros and the cons between those two.
Yeah,
That's my opinion.
That is very interesting. They definitely to the point of Cyborg, they definitely nerf him in the movies and the shows. They definitely nerf Cyborg and don't show exactly how powerful he is. Because his power essentially should be really, like you mentioned, he should be. I mean, and the thing is that Cyborg doesn't just control technology on a basic level. His because he's not a cyborg he's not a cyborg of Earth's technology. He is a cyborg from alien technology. So essentially, and he's and I don't know how accurate this is, but I think his technology, because I know different comics do different things. I think his technology is partially paired with the is it the anti-life equation?
The mother boxes.
Yeah, the mother boxes. Yeah. So because of that, he can control technology of every like planet and so he can control spaceships and everything. And when you really think about it, but they never show that. They just show him plugging into things and just little basic stuff. So they definitely downplay how, I ain't gonna say he's Omega level.
He is in a tech-based world. He's Omega level. The thing about him, and they do the same thing with Iceman, but I don't know if I want to get too nerdy, but him and Iceman is Iceman powers are make him like he's an Omega level mutant. Like he can pretty much do anything he wants, right? But he himself is an idiot, even though he has all that power. That's the reason. That's the thing that nerfs him. Is like if somebody smart had his powers, they even did that as a joke. They had Emma Frost, who's a genius, like take control of him for a second, and then start using his powers better than him, and basically shame him. It was like, why didn't you realize you were this powerful? You could do anything. And she was just like doing a whole bunch of ridiculous stuff that like, because he can literally do. He's if he wants to be, he's basically invincible.
Yeah, he technically is. I mean, yeah, invincible in a way where even if you like chop his head off because he's ice, as long as he's in his ice form, he can't be like destroyed. Because even if you chop his head off, it's ice, so he can just kind of like melt it back together or put it back together with. That's things I've heard about. Which ironically, for anybody who's seen what is it called, X-Men: Days of Future Past, the irony is that that's how they ended up killing him. That's how the what do they call the
Sentinels?
The Sentinels. That's how the Sentinels killed him, was basically by like popping his head off, which he literally is supposed to be able to survive that. But also, what's the name? Darwin was killed because he couldn't adapt to something. His power was that he adapts to everything. So I don't know. We go down a whole rabbit hole of comics.
I don't know if Iceman can survive getting his head chopped off. I know he can lose a limb and it can be reattached because he can keep it cold. So it can be reattached or whatever with the right technology or whatever. I don't know if he can survive his head being gone though. I think that would do him in.
So that's what. So I haven't read that in the comics. But that is something that I heard a YouTuber mentioning that is claimed that's in the comics. But if it is, I'll look it up to see, and if I do find it, I'll send it to you. But yeah, I haven't read that myself. To be honest. So y'all are seeing us really nerd out. So y'all be thinking I'm a halfway nerd talking about tech stuff. I'm like a real deal nerd. People just don't realize that, which is pretty funny and cool. So it's and y'all know Ash is like this too. Ash is super into the anime stuff. I don't know that much about the anime world. All right, let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. See what the vote is at the end of the day. So, what about the Starlink blackout? Ooh, I haven't heard about that.
Oh, right, snap.
Yeah, we might have to look that up real quick. Humble before him says everything is surveillance device now. Your phone is always on, even when you turn it off. Yeah, true. The word says, is learning to code still valuable with AI taking over mid and entry level software development roles? What are your thoughts on that?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, I can tell you another time.
Hit him up on LinkedIn or Instagram at Big Papa Code on Instagram. On LinkedIn, it's Arthur Bernier. Am I pronouncing your last name right, Bernier?
Yeah,
Or is it
Bernier, but that's better.
Bernier? Bernier. It's a small Bernier. All right, humble before him says, "Yep, a big but Amazon is doing its employees dirty too." Uh it's a tough conversation. We talked about it before. Um, I would love to try it, and I'm already giving up data. They know everything about us. That's very true. Mm, humble before him says Jean was dangerous. Yeah, she get that Phoenix Force Super Omega. Um, mm, all right, let's see. Let's see what the vote is. So somebody said Professor X. Oh no, we talked about Professor X already. All right, Cyborg can be hacked though.
No.
I think the only has he ever been hacked?
Yeah, there's things you could do if you have like, apocalyptic. If you have where Darkseid's from,
Yeah,
Apocalypse. If you have technology from them or from New Genesis, you probably could. But beside that, being that that is in another dimension and then nobody else can get access to it, nothing from the regular universe can do anything to him.
I know when Batman had his contingency plans against all of the Justice League members, I think his contingency
Cyborg
plan
was on
against
the Teen Titans.
you said what?
Cyborg was on the Teen Titans during that, so he wasn't around.
Oh yeah, so he wasn't even so I do know so specifically from the Injustice movie, the comics and the movies, Batman didn't hack Cyborg in the sense that he controlled him, but he was able to paralyze him temporarily, like put it like shock him. Because the moment he met Cyborg, he uploaded something into Cyborg the moment he met him. But it was basically he uploaded his contingency plan, not the moment he met him, but the moment that Cyborg joined the Justice League. When Cyborg joined the Justice League, Batman uploaded something into him that essentially would kind of like put him into pain and kind of paralyze him. But definitely not any technology that could actually hack him and control him and take over Cyborg. Let's see. Humble says, okay, I see meta device. Cyborg is basically IoT.
Yeah,
I am
basically.
dead. It took me a second to realize what they meant. I was like, IoT. That's
Internet
hilarious.
of Things.
That's talking about Internet of Things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want the power of Limitless. Willie says that's tough, but I think Limitless abilities would be fire. Limitless is one of my favorite movies. I remember the day I went to go and see that movie. It was a good day. Yeah, that Limitless show, I think they only had one season and it was kind of like fizzled out. It might have had two seasons.
It was good.
What you speaking about sounds like intuition to me. If you train it enough, it can do those things without technology. If you train it enough, it can do those things without technology. But I digress. That's a deeper subject. Yeah, that is a deeper subject. I'm not really sure. You talking about you literally talking about some superpower stuff now. I always says the limitless power gave him super cognitive functioning. It developed into hyper perception, the ability to perceive something before it's happened or predict the future, even biochemically. That
Mm-hmm.
is true. That is very true. But also we have to keep in mind that was that main character. The average person that had the limitless pill, they didn't have the super tweaked up version that he had where he got rid of all the bugs. And he had been on it so long that yeah, to your point, it was like kind of in him, not on him. It's in you, not on you. Humble before him says, "Yep, Batman did more tech equals more vulnerability. Sorry, Cyborg." All right, good stuff. So it looks like it almost looks like a tie. Half of y'all saying the meta tech, other half saying the limitless powers. So that is pretty interesting. So last thing I want to look at, and then we can go ahead and wrap up. I am interested because someone mentioned earlier about Was it Meta being hacked? Not Meta. What was that earlier somebody shared? The Starlink blackout. Starlink blackout. Is that your phone ringing? Your phone, your vibrator is loud.
That's not me.
It's got to be you.
I wasn't. You know what? It probably very well could have been me.
Nah, because I still hear it now.
Nah, that's not me. Oh yeah, no, somebody is calling me. I didn't even notice it because you know what? My phone is touching the keyboard. So you can hear it better than I can hear it.
I was like, God, dog, his phone, you got that.
My bad. And I left it vibrating while I was talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, let me hit the button to snooze it. Not snooze it, but ignore it.
All right, so Starlink had an outage. Now, a major global network disruption on July 24th. Starlink, SpaceX satellite internet service, experienced a rare and widespread global outage. Within hours, more than 60,000 users across the US, Europe, Canada, Australia, and Asia lost connectivity. The disruption began around 3 p.m. And lasted approximately 2.5 hours before service restoration began. The root cause, Michael Nichols, Starlink's VP of Engineering, confirmed that the blackout stemmed from a failure in core internal software services, possibly triggered by a misconfigured routine system update. Elon Musk publicly apologized and pledged a full investigation to prevent future recurrence. At peak outage, 57% of users' complaints were about degraded internet service. 42% reported total service blackouts. Some were notified by their Starlink app that their dish was unplugged or rebooting. Many users found it hard to distinguish between local hardware issues and a system-wide failure, as menus and status pages were inaccessible during much of the outage. Ooh, broader stakes, the military vulnerability exposed. Ukraine military officials confirmed Starlink's outage disrupted drone operations and battlefield communications across the front lines for more than 2 hours. Key missions, including reconnaissance and targeting, were delayed, highlighting the strategic dependency on Starlink in modern warfare. Very interesting.
And you know what's crazy? For the military to rely upon a private provider from a foreign country to be able to do war. I don't know. To me, that just sounds wild. That's the reason why my crazy thought for the future is never mind. I mean, again, not say that, but
no,
I can't say that.
What is it?
It's gonna sound bad, but this the way that we deal with government is going to need to change in a world where there is so much connectivity, right? It's like we're using an outdated technology, like the way that we have organized the world, and that just won't work with. Just like this is ridiculous. Like think about a national security of a sovereign nation, right? Like Ukraine, a sovereign nation that's dependent upon a for-profit company in America, right, that has its own opinions and thoughts, who literally the owner of that company was just a government official in Department of Government Efficiency recently, and they're relying upon that person who Elon did temporarily for a certain amount of time be aligned with, which was Trump, who was negotiating with them to try to get them to change what they did with their operations, and then to have the leverage over them of like, I could just turn your internet off and then you won't be able to fight the war anyway. Man, that is real mind-bogglingly ridiculous.
Yeah.
And there's more I want to say, but again,
it is interesting, even on another layer, that Elon actually has a certain level of respect, almost admiration for Putin. So it's like, how does that work? Like, how are you supplying his literal ops with technology to unalive your troops it's just all of it is just really strange. It's like
Yeah.
this is all very strange, incredibly strange.
It just shows that the world can't operate under the way that it's been operating for all these years. Um, like geopolitical politics have to change because
Yeah.
part of the reason why you have to have smaller countries, right? That have grown that way, just like you used to have city states, and whenever you have big empires, you have to have big communication. And normally they get to a point where like they can't be managed anymore, like the Roman Empire, etc., and they have to collapse because it's difficult to manage across large distances. But the free exchange of information, technology, and connectivity change what's possible there. And not to go back to Star Trek, but you know, that's the reason why every single in the year 23, whatever that Star Trek is, and I forget the year actually. That's the reason why every single like planet is just a country, basically. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then instead of the United States, you have the United Federation of Planets, and they all have a hierarchy and connection. And it's more like the United States, not like NATO. Because people say, oh, it's like NATO, but it's more like the United States. They all are like different states or whatever. But it is what it is. But
I would say it's very similar, like with Star Wars, where
Star Wars is
what I mean by that, in a sense that every planet is treated like it's a country and not like it's a whole planet with different cities and towns and cultures. It's like the entire planet is treated like, oh, that's how those people are on that planet. All of the people on that planet look that way, versus, I mean, essentially, yeah, that's how it's treated. And so they hop planet to planet as if they're going state to state almost. Like they treat it like, oh, we're just going to this other state, or we going to this other country. We about to hop a flight to this other country real quick. And so, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Borders, there's arguments for borders being good and borders being bad, or whatever the case may be, depending on where you sit and where you think. But this just shows like how that can get really complicated and really messy really fast.
Yeah, I believe that technology, specifically AI and things that are AI adjacent, I believe it's been forcing the government to finally start to work. Because for the past 10 or 20 years, the government has been operating the same way, not doing, like, they haven't really had any real threats in a way. Like the only changes the government has really been having to make, not just America, but other major countries as well. They've been having to make changes because of societal changes, societal views, societal shifts. Whether we're talking about civil rights movement, or we're talking about changes when it comes to women's rights, or changes when it comes to the LGBTQ community, or same-sex marriages, and all of these different things. They've had to make adjustments, but those adjustments are a little minor. It's like, okay, cool. You, for the most part, you pass a law, you change a few things. The law's either passed on the national level or the state level, depending on what it's about. Very simple, but AI, all of this technology,
robots, fintech, blockchain, robotics, genetic engineering, all that stuff is where they're gonna have to work.
Yeah, bioengineering, all of it is something where politicians, for the first time in a very long time, are like, oh wow, we have to somewhat learn about this stuff. We got to learn something now so we can make a law about it, because this isn't just like something people are debating that's a relatively simple topic. This is something that the decision we make could completely destroy our nation if we make the wrong decision. This isn't something we can just turn the clock back from, like, right away, or kind of be like, oh, we changed our minds about, same-sex marriage, or we changed our minds about this particular issue. Let's kind of revert the law back to this other thing. And so this is the first time Yeah, I mean, when we looked at Trump's, not his cabinet, but when we saw his inauguration, and I mean, this is the first time you saw the lineup of tech leaders that were there. It's like, yo, this is a different day and age, where, I'm not saying this as pro-Trump or anti-Trump, but just the office of presidency, which is supposed to be the most powerful position in the world, which I don't think it is. I think the people that make you kiss that wall are really the ones in power, but that's a whole other conversation. I ain't gonna say what wall I'm talking about, but I'm gonna let somebody in the chat say what wall I'm talking about. But that being said, the fact that that position now is in submission to tech founders, like that's really what it is. Like even though he tells them on certain instances what they can and can't do, yeah, he'll tell Tim Cook, hey, Apple has to build their factories here in America, or we're going to, essentially we're gonna put heavy tariffs on Apple products unless you build here in America. Yeah, he has control from that angle, but in reality, these tech founders, especially we're talking about, Jensen Wang, Elon, even, they are kind of running stuff. And so it really is like tech founders are truly running the world. That's why an Elon can supply technology to Ukraine, but then also be cool with Putin. Because either way you slice it or dice it, it's probably not wise to beef with Elon unless you are a person that you can build that technology yourself, or you have a team of people that can build that technology as well. Very interesting time. Somebody said, shout out to APOC. Oh, man, that's hilarious. Yeah, Keegan, you spot on, Keegan. You spot on. Very interesting. All right, y'all. Look, y'all. I should have said this earlier. Make sure y'all hit that like button, please. Smash that like button. Smash the like button, please, y'all. If y'all can. We're about to go ahead and wrap up. Before we do, make sure y'all do follow It's Deeper Than Code podcast. Check out Arthur and what he's doing with his Deeper Than Code podcast. Check him out on Instagram, Big Papa Code, on LinkedIn, Arthur Bernier. Oh, no, Bernier. Is that right, Bernier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel like I still messed it up. He just yeah, whatever. Super cool. But look, y'all, make sure y'all check him out. Bro, I would love for you to leave like any last thoughts or 2 cents that you want to leave with people with before we go ahead and wrap up.
Sure. Why not do a shameless plug? If you like these type of topics, I have a book called The 2032 Survival Guide that you can buy at any time. So, where I talk about my big 2032 thesis. And if you want to know a little bit about the 2032 thesis, you can also look at the first place I ever spoke about it publicly, which was on the Texas and New Black podcast in 2023. So you could always look at that episode too. But where I fully outline the entire thesis and everything that it entails. And if you like this type of conversation, I don't hold any punches about my opinion in there. And I spent a lot of time working on it. You can also watch the first 6 episodes of the Deeper Than Code podcast too. It go backwards, and I talk about it for 6 episodes straight.
And look, y'all, make sure y'all tap in with him. And again, make sure y'all, if y'all have not hit the like button, go ahead and hit that like button for us. Appreciate all y'all for being here, learning about everything that's happening in the tech industry. Make sure y'all subscribe to the platform if y'all haven't already, so that way y'all don't miss this and miss other updates, things that are happening in the tech industry. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed and beautiful weekend.
Peace.
Peace.